Yeah, good morning, everybody. You did say that. I'm glad you were right. My streak of never seeing Clemson lose in the Valley continues. You know what? Dabo needs to hire me. Needs to put me in give me a 1.5% T-shirt and post me up on the sideline for every Clemson home game. Nate, I've already started preparing for your visit. Speaking of T-shirts, there was a whole group of people. I don't know, it was like 20 or 30 of them that were all walking around together, and they had Tyler from Spartanburg T-shirts on. I told Mrs. Peete, it's just a matter of time before there's some photo op with Tyler from Spartanburg and Dabo Swinney. Maybe, just maybe, tonight on the, what do they call that thing? The Tiger Paul call-in show? I don't even know what they call that thing that Dabo Swinney does every Monday. He's got his call-in show today, though. I wonder if Tyler's going to call back in. That would be great. I bet you he'll try. No, Nate's not stealing my signs. My signs are indecipherable. You think Dabo will baptize Tyler? Hey.
Casket!
And I was so busy at the pre and post game events, I didn't even get to see our boy John from Always Irish. His reaction.
I don't feel well. Jesus, life shouldn't be that stressful if this is my show 2 weeks in. By week 10, I'm going to be doing the show from a casket.
Week 10. You hear that? How ironic is that? How ironic is that? Oh, you know what, Nature Boy? I did see, I didn't see the post-game show, but I did see somebody posted a clip of whoever that guy is that came on his show. I guess he's another YouTuber or something, or podcaster. I don't know who the guy is. Yeah, somebody posted like a 30-second clip of that guy going absolutely ballistic. Like, even more ballistic than John goes. Yeah, it's depressing, isn't it? How quick this season's gone by. I can't believe it's week 11 already. Pat is his name. If he has a standalone video with that guy freaking out, does he? Let me look. I don't want to have to search for it. Like, because I know he does like a like an hour or 2 hour long call-in show after the game. Right when everyone's still mad. You know what I mean? Which is the best time to do it, really. Let's see here. Oh, they're not coming? Well, that sucks. Yeah, it doesn't look like he uploaded that guy's meltdown. But speaking of this weekend, as far as the streaming schedule goes, I was looking at this right before the show here. So we know that that Michigan and Penn State and Clemson and Georgia Tech both play at noon. Since Nate's going to be here, and since whenever I'm home, I stream most Clemson games on YouTube. That's what I'll do this week. So we'll watch the Michigan and Penn State game and the Georgia Tech and Clemson game at noon on YouTube, and then the 3:30 slot or 7:30 slot will be open for the Patreon members and the members of my main channel, the YouTube members, channel members, joins. So I'll put a poll up here probably tomorrow. Let you guys vote on 3:30 or 7:30. Most of the time, you guys, well, all the time this year, you guys have chosen the prime time games, which it doesn't matter to me really. Prime time, we have who we have here. Michigan State, Ohio State, Ole Miss and Georgia at 7. West Virginia, Oklahoma, Michigan State, Ohio State. So there's a bunch of games on at night. Let's see the 3:30 games. What we got on at that time? Tennessee and Missouri is a good one. Utah and Washington. There's really some decent games on at all the time slots. Miami and Florida State. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll let you guys pick what you want to do. And if you do want to hang out with us for the Patreon stream, I did add the Patreon link to the description of this video, so you don't have to go searching for it. Uh-oh. What do I can't click that link. Oh, yeah, I can. Oh, shit. Hold on. 4-minute and 35-second mark. All right. The video's not 4 minutes. Oh. Wait, what is it? Oh.
I don't want to.
All right. Give me a second here.
That's the good news.
All right, let's get rid of this music. Here it is.
That's the way you put that. If you go back to the start of this season, I said Notre Dame will finish 9-3. And I said they will win one of the big three, or they'll win one of those games and they'll lose to either Duke and Louisville, and then they'll lose the other two. So my prediction is coming exactly as you saw it. But the way you finished that of now we can identify who's holding us back is exactly what this is. I am never a guy who says we need to fire a coach after 1 year. Parker needs to go.
They want to fire the offensive coordinator.
This offense. If Sam Hartman is supposed to be your guy, if Chancey Stuckey is supposed to be a great wide receiver coach, if your offensive line is supposed to be good, Estime is supposed to run the ball.
Oh, don't worry. Chauncey Stuckey will be coaching at Clemson by next year, sir. He's a former Clemson player. You know how Dabo does.
I'm done. I am done. I have always stepped back and I've always said, let's give this, let's give it time. Let's give it time. Let's give it time. This is horse shit. I cannot believe how bad this offense is. You can't generate anything.
It doesn't matter, Nature Boy. I'm enjoying it.
Against these teams. And it's just un-effing believable how bad this is. You got this quarterback, a 6-year guy who's supposed to be able to put the ball in the number, but because of the way you run the offense, he's timid to throw. He's getting hit when he's trying to throw, and then he's just throwing it all over the place because he can't find anybody open to begin with. And it's just horse shit. It's horseshit. I bet you Sam.
I bet you I can get some sound bites out of this.
If he stayed at Wake Forest or he went to Alabama instead of coming to Notre Dame and playing this offense. This team has regressed offensively. I've never seen anything like it. And the biggest reason I want Parker's ass gone is because of his goddamn personnel decision. What the hell is that? You put Payne in to block on third down one more time. He misses every goddamn block. Estime's running.
Let me tell you something. You know you're really yelling when your microphone starts to give out. He's taking his hat off.
Ball, and then you take him out for 2 carries.
Now, I don't know if this guy's married or not, but you got to imagine his wife or girlfriend or whatever is probably, like in the next room next to him, and she hears him screaming like this through the walls.
What is that shit?
Meet your next pillow.
Oh, shit.
Why do we make our pillow in the shape of a cube? I'll tell you.
Can you tell your daughter I said happy birthday, please, later?
But I gotta go.
He said, I gotta go.
No, that's beautiful. No, you did it. That's it. You gotta walk off on that.
Birthday. She's 10. Thanks, everybody. See you later.
Go before
his daughter's birthday. He's on here screaming.
Bye. Unbelievable. You never know what you're going to get here, folks.
There you go. Oh, man. That's good. What is up, everybody? Happy Monday. Welcome to the Midday Show. I am your host, PigskinPeete. Thank you for being here. I do appreciate you. I missed you guys this weekend, but it was for a good cause. I had to go donate to the Dabo Sweeney $11 million a year fund and overpay for a ticket, but it was worth every penny. It was worth every penny and then some. Listen, I love going to Clemson. I'm only able to make it up there usually twice a year. We go every year for the spring game, and then we try to choose one home game to go to. And of course, we picked the Notre Dame game to go to all the way back in the off season, because this was supposed to be a potential playoff implication game on paper anyway before the season started. We all know how the season's unfolded, so the game didn't have the luster, or I don't know the word to describe it. It didn't have the luster that we thought it was going to have going back to the beginning of September. Notre Dame coming in with 2 losses, a loss to Ohio State and a 2-touchdown loss to Louisville. Clemson, we all know the story with Clemson. Shot themselves in the foot basically all season long. Found a way to lose games that they should have won over and over and over again. But anyway, even so, if I'm able to make it up to Clemson once a year to watch a football game, I'm a happy guy. And we had a great time. I mean, it couldn't have gone any better. The only complaint I have is typically we meet some friends up there that go with us every year. Neither one of the two that we normally go with were able to make it, so we did miss them. But me and Mrs. Peete had a great time nonetheless. The weather couldn't have been more perfect. I think it was 70 degrees at kickoff. And anybody who's ever been in Clemson Stadium before, the stands are concrete. So if it's sunny outside, the heat radiating off of that concrete makes it a good 5 to 10 degrees warmer than the actual temperature. So it felt more like 80 degrees. But anyway, it was a great atmosphere out there. Everybody showed up. There was a good amount of Irish fans there. Not as many as 2015 in my recollection, but still they travel well. And also on top of that, it was a hell of a game. It was an entertaining game, even if you didn't have a dog in the fight. Clemson went out to a big lead, 24-6 at one point, and Notre Dame battled their way back, and we saw the way that it ended. Finally, Clemson found a way to finish a football game that they're leading, and that first half for Clemson was the best first half they've had all season, or the best half of football period that they've had all season. And I was happy that they found a way to win it at the end there. The defense completely balled out, shut Sam Hartman down. That's Sam Hartman's worst game of the season, and one of the worst games of his career. Barely over 100 yards passing, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He made a couple of pretty good plays. He had like a 40 or 50-yard run at one point. But really, the Notre Dame offense outside of Estime had zero answer for that Clemson pass rush and that Clemson defense. Jeremiah Trotter absolutely balled out. XT3 absolutely balled out. And of course, like I've been telling you, and a lot of Clemson people have been telling you, Phil Maffa balled out. I don't think I can remember the last time. You might have to go back to like CJ Spiller or something. I mean, I honestly don't know the answer to this. When is the last time a running back for Clemson touched the ball 36 times in one game? I don't know. Also, shout out to the coaching staff for not continuing to do the same bonehead crap when you're down on the goal line that you've been doing all year long. That last touchdown that Phil Maffa scored, first and goal inside the 5-yard line. We've all seen this story before. The story hasn't ended well for most of the time. Instead of passing it on first and second down inside the goal line, they decided they're going to give it to Phil Maffa, and if they're going to get 4 tries, they're going to get it in or they're not. And on the 3rd try, he did get it. So that was the difference in the game as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what the status of Will Shipley is. I'm assuming Shipley will be back next week. He was sort of a game time decision this week. So I'm assuming he'll be playing next week against Georgia Tech, and we'll see what the offensive coaching staff does here. You know, is it going to be more of what we saw before Shipley got hurt, or are they going to give Phil Maffa the love that he deserves, and at least get equal carries? I'm not asking for 36 carries by Maffa this week. That's not going to happen. Probably will never happen again. But I think he's earned the right to be somewhere between the 15 and 20 carry a game for the remainder of the season until further notice. So there you have it. Great weekend. A lot of stuff happened this week. What happened to Miami? Lost again? God almighty. But they're in a tailspin now. Now they've got to go to Florida State this weekend. I believe that game we said was at 3:30. It's always fun if you're a fan of the sport to watch Miami and Florida State play. And maybe even more fun is watching the trash talking that goes on between the Miami and Florida State fans for the next 4 or 5 days leading up to the game. With the amount of Miami YouTubers there should be no shortage of entertainment over the next few weeks. I got this new chair. Well, actually, it's not new. I'm still trying to get used to it. I stole Mrs. Pete's chair from her office, and I put my chair in her office. So I'm still trying to get used to this thing. Anyway, let's see who's in here. Who we got in here today? Who we got in here today? Jay Shipes, Matt Dummett, Nick DTV, Ultra Magadog, Jeremy Garrettson, Blazer Dog, the Nature Boy, Goose Sports, Zona Tucson 93. Oh, that reminds me. I booked my hotel room for the Slob Olympics, which we'll be going up on Thursday. At least that's what I got the room for anyway. Thursday, February 29th, so it's a leap year. Thursday, February 29th, and we'll be leaving that Sunday, the 3rd. And I also booked my airplane ticket to Vegas in January. I got those things out of the way. VicTube is here. Sports Talk 101. There's Nate. Slim Shady Canes. Clint Eastwood. Cody Hankins. Oklahoma's playoff is over and Alabama's playoff is still alive. That is a fact. That's not even disputable. Ding, 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 ding.
That is correct, sir.
And I do believe Alabama is going to win out in the regular season. So for them, it's going to come down to facing off against Georgia in Atlanta. So that ought to be interesting. Anthony Swift, Brad Pitt, Atypical Gump, Baylor Man. John Serrain. Saturday seemed to impress a lot of recruits who were there, too. Yeah, I saw one guy, I want to say he's from Warner Robins, Georgia. I forget the guy's name now. He's a defensive end, 6'5". Again, I forget the guy's name. But he got an offer from Dabo right before kickoff at the Clemson game. D. Taylor, Brandon Pratt. Yes, yes, yes. All right. I know there's plenty of college football news. Let's see if we can find some that's worth reading. What do you guys think about that?
Breaking news from the Pigskin Pete YouTube channel.
And I'm pretty sure that Georgia wrapped. Did they wrap up the East? Who do they play? They play Ole Miss this weekend. I don't know. I feel like I would have heard about it if it was official. I guess technically they haven't yet. But listen, for all intents and purposes, the win over Missouri, I think, pretty much locked up the East for them, didn't it? Of course, Alex Grinch finally gets fired. Too little, too late. Southern Cal head coach Lincoln Riley is making a change to his coaching staff. Riley announced Sunday that defensive coordinator Alex Grinch has been fired. Grinch has coached alongside Riley dating all the way back to 2019 when Riley hired him to be his defensive coordinator at Oklahoma. Grinch then followed Riley from Oklahoma to USC, which was one of the most head-scratching things that happened during that transition with Lincoln Riley going to Southern Cal. It would have been a great opportunity for him to start fresh at defense. Instead, he brought the guy who was fielding one of the worst defenses in the country at Oklahoma when he was there. So I don't understand what that was all about. Following a 52-42 loss to Washington on Saturday night, Southern Cal now ranks 122nd out of 133 FBS teams in total defense, allowing 436 yards per game and number 124 in scoring defense at 34.5 points per game. The loss to Washington dropped Southern Cal to 7-3 overall and 4-2 in the Pac-12. It was the Trojans' third loss in their last 4 games. So the Pac-12 is starting to really round out, and I think it's down to 3 teams, right? It's down to Washington, Oregon, and Oregon State. What are you doing, Gato? What's wrong? Sorry. I know you all saw the Caleb Williams sobbing after the game. And normally I wouldn't think that's funny, right? Except for the fact that he was on Twitter last year laughing and making fun of, what's his name? The TCU quarterback for crying after their loss. So, you know, what goes around comes around, I guess. Brian Kelly talks about the issues that Alabama's Jalen Milroe caused the Tigers' defense. They couldn't stop him, could they? Shout out to Tommy Rees, by the way, the offensive coordinator for Alabama, former offensive coordinator for the Fighting Irish, at finally realizing what this Alabama offense is. On Saturday night, Jalen Milroe broke a record for the most rushing touchdowns by an Alabama quarterback in a single game as he ran for 4 touchdowns to lead the Tide to a 42-28 victory over LSU. He carried the ball 20 times for 155 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's running back numbers. That's not just running back numbers. That's good running back numbers. Then he finished the game 15 for 23 and 219 yards. That's also not bad. Nobody was really paying attention to his passing stats. But 15 for 23 for 219 is not bad. This is Brian Kelly here. I've got to watch the film, you know. There were 2 times where we didn't get a particular call where we should have. Where we would have had an end looping right into it. So there were some missed calls out there that required discipline of the group. Sounds like he's blaming the players. So again, for me to answer right now after the game and give you a specific, we knew his strengths. We had a game plan that we felt that would address it. But we are limited in some sorts of things that we can do and didn't want to get into a lot of man situations. Well, whatever your game plan was didn't work. That's for sure. The Ducks see their national championship odds jump after 63-19 blowout over Cal. What are they? Let's see. Michigan at plus 225. Georgia at plus 250. How Michigan's got a better odds to win the national championship than Georgia does? That's surprising. I mean, it's not by a lot. Still surprising, though. Plus 600 for Florida State. Florida State better odds in Vegas to win the national championship than Ohio State. Ohio State at plus 700. Alabama at plus 700. And Oregon at plus 1,000. This does surprise me. I would have Oregon, honestly. And I know. Look, I know the way Vegas works. It doesn't mean that Vegas thinks that Oregon's a worse team than Alabama. That's not the way it works. But still, this goes right back to the image of the Pac-12 in the postseason. That's what this is. Sorry, I forgot to put the screen on. And that's really the only reason I could think. That's a good return there on your money if you're looking to bet on a national championship winner there. 1,000. And then the team that they lost to has worse odds than them. Washington at plus 1,200. There you go. Texas at plus 1,600. Oh, man, Oklahoma did Texas a big favor, didn't they? Man, back-to-back losses for the Sooners. Now we're getting down into the two-loss team, plus 3,500 for Oklahoma. They're not even making the playoffs, let alone, it'd be a fool to bet on them. Penn State plus 8,000. Notre Dame plus 20,000. Ole Miss plus 20,000. Now we're getting down way down in the weeds now. LSU 25,000, Utah 25,000. So going back to this Alex Grinch thing, it's going to be interesting to see who he's able to get for that job in the offseason. Auburn has had an up and down year in Freeze's debut. Well, I mean, did anybody think it wasn't going to be an up and down year? I don't think anybody outside of Auburn or Alabama expected them to make any real noise. Five storylines to watch in Alabama's Week 11 matchup versus Kentucky. Can Alabama clinch the SEC West? Things are pretty simple for the Tide this weekend. Win and you're SEC West champs. While that's easier said than done, Alabama will be favored over the Wildcats. And all things equal, should leave Lexington with the West. Kentucky quarterback Devin Leary's had an up-and-down season for the Wildcats. When he has been good, he's been really good, but the NC State transfer also had a lot of struggles in the SEC. Depending on which version of Leary shows up, will go a long way in determining the flow of the game. Yeah, I don't really, I hope it's a good game. I don't really give Kentucky much of a chance in this game, honestly. I mean, Kentucky knows what they have to do. They have to contain Milroe. But I honestly don't even think that Alabama's offense has to have a big game to win this. I think defensively they're too good for Kentucky's offense. We'll see. Yeah, Ray Davis is second in the SEC in rushing yards this season with 903 yards while averaging over 6 yards per carry. The key to slowing down the Kentucky offense is not allowing Davis to get it going on the ground. Alabama does have a good rush defense. Yeah, I know the Oklahoma fans are disappointed with the past couple of weeks, but honestly, from where they were last year at this time, it's 150% better all the way around, both offensively and defensively. I think most Oklahoma fans, if you would have told them that going into Week 11, they'd only be a 2-loss team, 99% of them would have signed right up for that before the season started. I mean, they still have potential to win 10 regular season games, and if they win in their bowl game, win 11 games, that's astronomically better than what most people thought they were going to be capable of doing this year. Especially since there's so many decent teams in the Big 12, mainly Texas. But it's a pretty competitive conference. Big Ten bowl projections, college football playoff, New Year's Six predictions after Week 10. Let's see what they got here. That's how you know it's late in the year. The season's coming to an end soon, is when they start doing these bowl projections. Where are they? Okay, here we go. Here's the projections according to Craig Mayer from USA Today. College football playoff, Rose Bowl, number 1 Ohio State versus number 4 Washington. So Craig believes that Washington will win the Pac-12. And at this point, they are favored for obvious reasons. Let's see here. New Year's Six, Orange Bowl, Michigan and Louisville. Shout out to Louisville. Another big win this weekend. They've moved up to what? I think they're ranked 11th in the country right now. Which is unbelievable. Peach Bowl, Penn State versus Alabama. So that tells you what this guy's thinking here. He thinks that Georgia will. Georgia is the favorite to win the SEC, and he believes that they will. Let's see here. Remaining bowl projections. Citrus Bowl, Iowa and Missouri. Music City Bowl, Wisconsin versus Tennessee. I'm trying to look at one that's going to get me excited. I guess Wisconsin versus Tennessee is kind of interesting. Las Vegas Bowl, Nebraska and Southern Cal. God damn. The Pinstripe Bowl, Rutgers and Duke. Now, I'd watch that. You know, you got two teams in their respective conferences that have, pretty much overachieved, according to most people's expectations for the season. I would like to see that matchup, actually. Guaranteed Rate Bowl, Minnesota versus Iowa State, and the Quick Lane Bowl, Maryland and Toledo. I gotta say, I don't know. Of course, nobody knows if these projections are gonna happen, but not a whole lot to get excited in those matchups. If I'm being honest here, Wisconsin and Tennessee. I guess Nebraska and Southern Cal would be interesting. And then Rutgers and Duke. Oh. Mm. All right. So nothing in the college football news about Clemson and Notre Dame, which is shocking. Dabo Sweeney says after the game, if Clemson was a stock, you better buy all you can right now. What do you guys think about that? Brandon says it doesn't matter who Riley hires. Nothing is going to change. Yeah, probably not. But you have to at least think. I mean, if he goes out and gets a good coach, it's going to be at least noticeably better than what we've seen since 2019 out of a Lincoln Riley coach team. Will Alex Grinch end up as a defensive analyst for the Crimson Tide? We know that Nick Saban runs a halfway house for fired coaches over there. So I would not be surprised if he was on Alabama's staff by this time next year, or before next season, I mean. That reminds me, we're getting close to what do they call it, Black Sunday? Whenever it's usually after the final regular season game when you start seeing the axe come down on a lot of these coaches, whether they're coordinators or position coaches or head coaches even. I wonder where the discussion is who's going to be the first head coach in the Power Five to be fired, and when, and who and when. We've already seen some coordinators get fired, right? We saw Grinch get fired. We saw Ferentz got fired. Am I missing anybody? The Notre Dame people are now calling for their offensive coordinator, even though he's a first-year guy, to be fired. Will that happen? Will there be any changes on Clemson's coaching staff? Now, I'll go ahead and tell you, there's not going to be any changes at coordinator. All right? So, no, Wes Goodwin not getting fired, and he shouldn't. And no, Garrett Riley not being fired, and he shouldn't. The big question with Clemson is some of the position coaches, wide receiver coach, offensive line coach, those two probably at the top of the list. Although Clemson's offensive line did play their best game of the season, probably their best game in the past two seasons, this past weekend. What's up, Rec Talk? He says Iowa's offensive coordinator. That's a good one. Celine Driver says fire Strickland and hashtag fire Napier, hashtag fire everyone. Napier's not getting fired. No, I don't know anything about the other two. You just want to blow the whole thing up, huh, Celine? Just start over from scratch, rebuild this thing from the ground up, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Whatever other sayings you want to add in there. Has anyone seen Octavian? Slim, what's it looking like in Miami land? Are you guys ready to jump off a bridge yet? And I'm not talking about you, but you are my representative. My unofficial representative for the Miami fan base. Who are they calling for to be fired? Now, first of all, if any of them are calling for Mario Cristobal to be fired, then I won't take them seriously because they're stupid. But what, offensive coordinator, I guess? I don't know. Somebody's got to go down, right? They want Tyler Van Dyke. I'm not going to lie. That play where he sacked himself might be one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Octavian did jump on Mama Tori's stream last night for a few. Okay. Was it last night you said? Yeah. Well, I know Scott Kerr is trying to track him down. Scott, according to Scott, Octavian made a stupid bet. Florida against Georgia a couple of weeks ago. And bet him straight up. Didn't even take any points. And lost. $100, I think is what he said. All you have to do is say Scott Kerr and Octavian disappears from the chat. Well, look, man. Don't make bets if you're not going to pay. That's all I can tell you. Nobody likes a bet welcher. You know what I mean? Now, I'll admit, I made a bet that I completely forgot I made. But as soon as the gentleman brought it to my attention, I paid him. I paid a lot of people this year, believe me. Speaking of bets, I do owe Slim Shady. I lost my bet to him. We had a bet on the Miami and Clemson game. Now, betting with Slim is it's almost like not losing. Because we see each other a couple of times a year in these, events that we go to and stuff. And we bet a bottle of liquor. I think we bet a bottle of Maker's Mark bourbon. But the good thing about that is I can buy a bottle of bourbon and he'll drink it with me. So, and then if I win, he gives me the bottle of liquor and I drink it with him. So it's really a win-win situation for each one of us. You know what I mean? What's up, Chunky Nothing? Yeah, on Saturday morning. Well, first of all, because it was a noon game, we had to leave here around 5:30 a.m. So I didn't do the call-in show on Friday night, and I was like, I'm going to bed at 10 o'clock, which is when I normally start the call-in show. So I go to bed at 10 o'clock. Well, I'll give myself an A for effort. But that's all it really was an effort. Because all I did was stare at the ceiling for 3 hours. Thinking about the next day. Finally fell asleep somewhere around 1 a.m. Was up at 5. So I was tired. And then had to drive, whatever it was, 3.5 hours to Clemson. I was exhausted. But anyway, we get to the hotel. As soon as we pull in the hotel, the team is pulling out. Yeah, the place we stayed was where Clemson stays. The Clemson football team stays the night before, which is just off of campus. Well, I say just off of campus, like 10 miles away. So I got to see them. Got to see them off, which was cool. And I know I'm getting old because we went and grabbed something quick to eat before the game, and then we went to a bar after the game and a tailgate spot after the game, and we went back to the hotel at like, I don't know what time it was, like 4 o'clock. And there's like a sports bar and grill right next to the hotel, so we walked over there and ate dinner. And I think I was asleep by 9 o'clock. I was wore out. You're going to the game this weekend? That's cool. Where do you need to park? Well, yeah. I mean, there's a million places you can park that ranging anywhere from $20 to $40 to park there for the day. It depends on how close you want to be to the stadium. Honestly. The main road when you drive into Clemson, once you get close to campus, there's like a public parking area off to the right, and it's maybe only a 10 or 15 minute walk from the stadium. And it's only, I think, $20. That's what it was this past weekend. We didn't park there. We Ubered from the hotel to the game. We didn't park. But if you want to get one of the nice grass parking areas where there's a lot of tailgating going on all around the stadium, you're going to pay somewhere with $30 or $40. But if you want one of those, you're going to have to get there in the morning. It's a 12 o'clock kickoff, so if you want to get one of those that's somewhat close to the stadium, within a 5-minute walk or so, you're going to have to get there 8, 9 o'clock at the latest, probably closer to 8. Oh, good luck with that. Have fun, too. Have you ever been to Clemson before? I feel like you told me that you have been there before. Oh, no, you haven't. Oh, you'll enjoy yourself. It's a great place to watch a game. If you've never been there before, I'll get with you. There's a couple places you have to go while you're there. Obviously, the SO Club, you have to go there. Now, don't plan on most likely getting a seat inside that place. But they do have an outside area with a bunch of tables and like outside bars and stuff. But anyway, you should go and at least check it out. And then the main little street in Clemson, where all the stores and bars and restaurants are at. TD's is popping. We went there for a drink. TD's, Study Hall, Charleston Sports Pub. There's 4 or 5 little bars and restaurants right there on the main strip. I am getting old. Where did you get your seats at? Yeah, hit me up. I'll let you know where to go. Where are your seats at? $45 to $24 taters. I hope you're right. I think Clemson can win out. North Carolina's kind of fallen off the map. We got them next week. And then South Carolina's freaking terrible. We have them to end of the year. So we get past Georgia Tech this weekend, I think we'll win out. Tech staff, family, and parents, I have no idea where that's at. They do have like a the corner of the west end zone where the locker rooms are is usually where the visitor seats are. Like, all of those are designated for visitor team. I don't know if that's where the parents and staff and all that shit sits. I have no idea. But those actually aren't bad seats. I mean, other than the fact that it's in the corner of the end zone. But it's on the lower deck. Hopefully you guys have as good luck with the weather as we had this past weekend. Seriously. I mean, it's very rare you're going to go up to Clemson in November and it's going to be 75 degrees during the game and sunny. All right, the StreamYard is open now, guys. For anyone who wants to come on for the remainder of the show. They're calling for rain. Let me pull that up. That's not good. I don't even know who that benefits. Well, right now it's 70 degrees and sunny in Clemson. All right, here we go. Let's see here. Oh, God, yeah. Not great. There's the forecast for Clemson this coming Saturday. 61-degree high. Look at the weather all week. 76 today, 81 tomorrow, 80 Wednesday, 80 Thursday, 70 Friday. So between 70 and 81 degrees all week. Then Saturday, 61-degree high and rain. Oh, no. Well, hopefully the rain holds off until after the game. That's all I can tell you. What's up, man?
What's going on, Pete? How are you?
Hey, I'm great, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Excited. Like I said, I hadn't been to Clemson before, so we'll see how that goes. I don't really know what to expect as far as the football, but
yeah, I mean, you guys are hot right now. I mean,
yeah, we are offensively. I mean, we should be like ranked 15th now after last week, but defensively we're as bad as USC. So who knows?
Yeah. Well, you'll like it there if you've never been to a game there. Well, I've never heard anybody say they've gone to a game there and didn't like it. Now, what happens as far as the scoreboard's a different situation, but you should have a good time.
Yeah, man. Like I said in the chat, I'm trying to get to 2 away games a year. I went to Ole Miss earlier, so I went to the Grove and then going to Clemson this year. And one of someone who works for the team came to the tailgate and hooked me up with tickets. So grateful to him. So I didn't have to pay anything.
Someone that works for the Georgia Tech's team, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is C-Dog going with you or no?
He's not able to go. Papa Rec is going with me and 2 other guys that I know. So it should be a good time.
Yeah. Well, like I said, as far as the parking goes, at what time are you planning on getting there?
So my dad lives not far from Athens, which is, I don't know, an hour and 45 minutes from Clemson. So we'll probably leave at like 7:30. So that'll put us there, I don't know, around 10.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Clemson's not big, so once you get on campus, I mean, you'll see a million different places you can park. You know, just look for the signs, but
yeah.
I mean, the earlier you get there, the better.
That is the only Papa Rec is pretty chill, but when it comes to traffic, he gets a little unstable. So maybe we'll park further away so we can get out quicker.
Yeah, I think that spot I was talking about on the main road, if you're coming up from I-85, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So you'll get off at exit 19B on I-85. You'll see a sign that says Clemson University exit. You go down that road, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles, and that's when you get to the campus. And you'll see very clearly on the right, because there'll be police cars there and people turning in and out of there. There's a parking lot right there is $20, and all you have to do is cross that. Once you park there, you cross across the main road to the left, and you'll see a street that goes up a hill, and that takes you right to the stadium. So it's maybe a 10-minute walk. It's actually, it's not. There's no scenery around there. It's not really where people tailgate because it's right on the highway. Yeah. But it's somewhat close and cheap. It's not a far walk. So that might be, and also getting out of there, you bypass all of the Clemson, all the downtown campus traffic. You just walk down to your car and get right on the highway and get out.
Well, that'd be ideal. Yeah. And I'll check out some of the tailgates. I almost got in a fight at Ole Miss. Someone just got in my face and called me a nerd. Yeah. I mean, what the fuck do you think's going to happen? Right
no, you won't get any of that at Clemson. You'll get people, if you're walking past their tailgate, to invite you over and give you a hot dog or something.
Oh, I love hot dogs. Is that Slim down there?
It is.
What's going on, Slim? Yep.
Yeah, Slim came to Clemson last year for his first time.
Quite the laugh at your NC Dog's expense.
What?
Did you? Well, about what? I have a feeling we're going to be laughing at you, but
honestly believe that y'all is not still hot dog water quarterback.
Oh, he's talking about, we said Haynes King is a better quarterback than Tyler Van Dyke, I think, which is objectively true. Is that what you were talking about?
No, it's not. Two bad games does not all of a sudden make Haynes King a better quarterback.
Pete, be our unofficial arbiter here. Who do you think is better?
Well, I would say Haynes King is playing better right now than Van Dyke is. As far as who's better overall, I don't know about that.
It's Haynes King. I'll go ahead and finish that for you.
Stop it.
Well, I think even Slim would admit that King is playing better right now than Van Dyke is.
Oh, yeah, nobody's disputing that. That's why I said Van Dyke's had a couple of bad games. But
how many bad games does he have to have?
Hang on.
All right.
Rec and Sea Dogs have tried to make the argument that he's played bad since Georgia Tech. If I'm not mistaken, he threw for almost 400 yards on Georgia Tech. So that's, by an objective standard, not a bad game.
Yeah, if I threw for 400 yards and 3 pigs.
400 yards against North Carolina too, so that's objectively not a bad game.
So you're almost as bad as Touchdown Tim. Like, you just etch out the interception mark, like that doesn't have any bearing on his play.
No, it absolutely does. I'm looking at things in their totality.
Then mention the picks.
We all know about the picks.
Oh, okay.
You're trying to say just because of the picks, he's having a bad game, and I'm saying no. Well, then Cade Klubnik's the best.
Yeah, I was about to say, because if you look at Cade Klubnik's numbers outside of turnovers, they don't look bad at all. I mean, his completion percentage is around 60%.
Cade Klubnik's a terrible quarterback either.
Well, you're the only one.
Applying your logic to Cade Klubnik, and by your logic, Klubnik's the best quarterback ever.
I haven't run around saying he's terrible because I don't think he is.
You don't just get to ignore that part of his game because it's inconvenient for your TVD love.
It's got nothing to do with inconvenience.
Okay. Why do you think 95% of your fan base is calling for him to be benched?
Because 95% of the fan base calls for stupid shit every single year.
Well, that is true with Miami. That was a bad question. Yeah, no, I do agree. 95% of your fans are dumb.
And they're also talking about putting in a fucking true freshman, which, once again, right into the dumbass argument.
Yeah, I saw that. What's that guy's name?
Shit. I know Williams is his last name. Damn it, I'm having a brain fart.
Is
Riley Williams?
Is Van Dyke? Is he doesn't? He seems like he's hurt to me. Is he still hurt?
No. Hell, Van Dyke broke off a couple of good 10, 15-yard runs in that game. Physically, I think he's healthier than he's been for a month.
That's not good then for your argument.
What was up with that play where he just fell down?
That I don't know.
That was wild looking.
No, if you look at what's going on, and this is what Miami fans like to ignore, what everybody's doing against us at this point, because they figured out Shannon Dawson's running basically 4 wide receivers on every play. Mm-hmm. And that's another reason we're able to run the ball so effectively, is because defenses are dropping 7 or 8 into coverage. So literally everybody's double covered.
What?
So, I mean,
How can
they want to sit
covered?
here when you're dropping 7 and 8 into coverage against 4 wide receivers. Everybody's double covered.
So your offensive coordinator's an idiot, or?
I think the problem is, I think that's part of the problem.
Okay. Emory Williams, by the way.
It's part of, Emory Williams. I don't know why. Riley Williams is the tight end. My bad. Part of the problem is, to help take care of that, you don't have an effective pass catching option at tight end. And that was on full display against NC State, because the tight ends went 1 for 5 for 0 yards in the first half.
I'm curious from a fan perspective. I know a lot of people claim they don't care about conference affiliation and whatnot, but really Florida State is the only team left that could possibly represent the ACC in the playoffs. Do you think that people will be rooting for Florida State to win against Miami this week just for that?
Probably.
Reason?
Probably. Yeah, I think there's some people that will,
Yeah, for the good of the conference, it's better for us to have a team in the playoffs.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing, though. Florida State could lose that game and still make the playoffs. They're not leaving out a one-loss ACC champion.
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe if they, I agree with you there. I guess it depends on how they lost, but I think you're right.
Do you think Florida State's overrated, Slim?
They looked a little mid this weekend, I'm going to be honest. Now, I understand their 2 best wide receivers were out. I get that.
Yeah, everyone's got injury at this time of the year, though.
Right.
Well, Florida State's thing is that they've struggled against a lesser competition all season long, but whenever they have a big game, they step up and find a way to win it. We saw that against LSU. We saw that against Clemson.
I mean, listen, I do think Miami's defense is going to keep us in this game this week, but whatever is going on in between the ears of Tyler Van Dyke, motherfucker needs to get it figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, what has he thrown? 10 picks in 4 games now?
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of them. There's a couple of them I just, like, I don't, and I use this standard for every quarterback. Like, if you're just on the last play of the game, you're chunking the ball in the end zone, yeah, it's on the stat sheet, but whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't affect, like, all picks don't affect you the same. That's true.
Right. And he had one, at the end of that game, that was basically the same thing. They were trying to march down the field as quick as they could, and had one to seal that game. So I'm just kind of like, there's a couple of them I'm like, whatever. But there's still 8 of them that, what's going on?
I agree.
Did y'all see the Coach Coop lost a bet? Did you see that video?
I haven't watched it yet. It's on my my to-do list.
I'll describe it to you. It's disturbing. Okay. He goes outside of his house at like 11 o'clock at night after the game's over. It's like 40 degrees outside. He strips down to his underoos, gets on his hands and knees, and howls like a wolf.
Outstanding.
That sounds like something I would do without making a bet. What's he doing?
Yeah, God, I don't know. I can't even bring myself to make that kind of bet.
He had, at one point, he had on a Clemson cheerleader outfit, so that's far from the worst thing he's done.
Yeah, that's goated. Whenever he put on the Clemson cheerleader uniform and the wig, and did the Clemson cheer, I mean, that's gold.
Yeah,
man, there's like some Deliverance vibes in some of these bets.
I felt sorry for Coop howling in his backyard in his underwear, but the funniest thing about it was, clearly his wife was the one videoing him.
Right.
Because after he gets done, after he gets done doing it, he looks at the camera. He says, "Okay, let's go inside. The neighbors are probably wondering what's going on out here." And the video ends.
Could you imagine explaining that to your wife? Like, look, I know this is going to sound weird, but I need you to get that camera, and I need you to follow me out in the woods.
See, Mrs. Pete, she'd just be like, "No, I'm not doing that."
She wouldn't do that for you?
No, she would not. No.
You are not. She wouldn't let you upload that, probably, even if you did film it.
I've uploaded some pretty weird shit. So,
yeah, we've all been there a time or two, right?
Somebody asked who am I picking, Penn State or Michigan? I'm picking Penn State. And yeah, I know that Michigan has Penn State signs apparently, but if Penn State's as smart as they say they are, then they would have changed those signs by now.
Oh, Rick, and to your point, Touchdown Tim is one of the ones calling to fire Mario at this point.
Well, Touchdown Tim's great. Pete, I don't know if you've seen that guy.
I've heard about him, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, you were talking about Michigan. So if you take Michigan in that national title money line, I guess, and then they get banned from postseason play for all this Stallion stuff, do they give your money back?
No. No,
Maybe that's why they put the odds on it. They did.
There's no such thing as a refund in Vegas.
Yeah, but I mean, the NCAA is not going to do anything to Michigan for at least 18 months. I mean, they've been parked out on LSU's campus for 2.5 years and still haven't done anything.
I'm starting to wonder if the Big Ten's going to do anything. I mean, it's week 11. I mean, we're less than a month away from the championship game now.
All the Big Ten can do is leave Michigan out of the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah.
But that's not the playoff committee obviously would still put Michigan in even without the Big Ten title game.
Maybe.
Notre Dame. They don't play a conference title. It's not a problem.
Well, Notre Dame has lost a conference title game and still made the playoffs, sir.
I'm just saying, yeah, they could still get in.
They could conceivably, yeah.
They would not leave out an undefeated Michigan.
They
would leave out a one-loss Pac-12 champ before they left out undefeated Michigan that didn't play in the Big Ten title.
Well, yeah, because
I'd be willing to make that bet.
An undefeated Michigan will have to beat both Penn State this weekend and then Ohio State the last weekend. So yeah, you're right, they would get in. Definitely.
Do you think Harbaugh stays at Michigan? I kind of feel like, for whatever reason, the NCAA kind of has it out for him, just with like the COVID burgers and stuff.
Harbaugh ended up signing that extension last week.
Yeah, but I mean, he might just say, I want to go to the NFL and not deal with all this nonsense, because there will eventually be some punishment levied, I assume.
Maybe, yeah. It does seem like somebody has got a hard-on for Jim Harbaugh.
And that's true from Nature Boy. Like, why is the FBI involved? I don't really understand that. Like, as far as I can tell, it's not illegal.
I'm pretty sure the FBI is involved for something non-related to football.
Well, now, unless there's some kind of argument being made for point shaving or something, then that's what would get the FBI involved.
I thought there was some sort of investigation going on against a staffer for Michigan that's not football related. I could be wrong about that.
Well, there wasn't an official one that I know about. I mean, that looked like some of those, amateur Chris Hansen's.
Yeah, I'm not even talking. Yeah, I'm not even talking about the guy who got fired for trying to meet that 13-year-old girl. I'm talking about something different. And again, that's just something I read. I don't know. You know how the internet is. Right. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what to believe anymore.
Well, everything on Twitter is true. That's what I was told.
Well, that is true. Yeah.
That's a primary source. Yeah.
Everything I post on Twitter is true.
Look what Pete said. I'm going to put this in my peer-reviewed academic article.
Yeah. Let's see. FBI Michigan. Let's see what comes up here.
Nature says they're looking at a computer hacking scandal.
Yeah.
What?
Well, see, that's kind of dumb considering law enforcement all across the country employs computer hackers.
Well,
the white hats.
Let's see here. All kinds of YouTube videos come up.
Well, then you have that guy I sent you the interview with, Rick. I sent you that video.
Yeah. That's like a gray hat guy, I think.
Yeah.
All right, here it is.
Yeah.
There's an article on it. So the FBI joins inquiry into ex-Michigan assistant football coach. Let's see here. The FBI has joined the University of Michigan Police Department's investigation of a former Wolverines assistant coach, Matt Weiss, who was fired in January following a report of unauthorized computer access crimes at the school's football building.
Huh.
So I don't even know what that means, but...
What was he doing?
School has evidence that he, quote, inappropriately accessed accounts at Schemblecker Hall, which houses the school's football offices. So, a Michigan employee on January 5th reported fraudulent activity involving someone accessing university emails, accounts without authorization.
What in the hell is going on at Michigan?
I don't know.
I still don't understand why that's a FBI issue, though.
Yeah, I'm
That's
well,
weird.
curious about that myself.
Because it sounds like he's hacking into people's emails, which is illegal. And it sounds like the Michigan police, the Michigan whatever campus police have already been investigating, and I guess the FBI decided they were going to step in and offer their assistance. I don't know.
Man, as long as he clears out all the junk mail I get, fuck it, hack into mine. I don't care. There's nothing in there for you to see.
Yeah. He didn't unplug it and plug it back in.
Really, it really begs the question, like, what was he trying to find?
Yeah, he must have accessed something to trigger the FBI to investigate. I don't know what it was. It must have been serious, though.
Yeah.
Because Michigan is a preeminent research institute. They have a Nobel Prize laureate from there.
Maybe he was trading emails with that staffer that was trying to get 13-year-olds drunk.
You know what? That was right around that time. I think that's what.
Possibility.
Yeah.
And that's something that would definitely get the FBI involved.
Right. Yeah, that's probably what it is. Because the timing works out. I believe that guy was fired in January, which is when this email hacking thing apparently happened. So,
what's wrong with people, man? Ugh.
Is it just me or the Big Ten? Like, you get the stuff that happened at Penn State, then Michigan State, now Michigan. Like, what is going on up there?
Yeah, Northwestern too. Like,
Dingaling Car Wash. Yeah.
I would expect this more out of the Pac-12 if I'm just being honest.
Yeah. The California teams.
California,
Oregon, Washington. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, what's wrong with the Big Ten, man? The FBI might need to investigate all of them schools.
Did y'all see that video of the guy with the Chris Hansen thing? I say Chris Hansen, whoever it was.
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, man, God, it's the guy, the Michigan guy who went to meet the 13-year-old girl that he had been grooming online at Walmart. It's disturbing. First of all, the guy is, how do I say this, Slim?
Ugly.
I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Does he looks like what we think he would look like?
He's slow.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the best way I can put it. I don't know what his affliction is, but he's clearly not all there, if you know what I mean. And he's standing in the back of Walmart in the electronics section where the TVs and stuff are. And he's holding a bottle of vodka, which I didn't even realize. I guess in Michigan you can buy vodka at Walmart. I don't know, because you can't hear.
I mean, well, maybe he just brought it with him, but, like, that's a freaking almost a 2-liter of vodka. It's a big-ass bottle he's walking around with.
Yeah, and these guys that kind of, catfished him online or whatever walk up to him with a camera, obviously, and they're like, "Hey, are you so-and-so?" He's like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Hey, what are you doing here? You got a bottle of vodka there, man. What you doing? What you doing?" He goes, "Well, I'm about to go to a party." He goes, who are you partying with?" He goes, "Just some friends." And they're like, "Oh, you're not going to party with this 13-year-old girl?" He tries to walk away, and they're like, "Oh, no, you're not going anywhere, buddy." They're like,
did they read the transcript like Chris Hansen did?
Yes, they did.
You want to blank their blank and blank their blank.
They go, so what are you doing here? He goes, oh, I'm just looking for a new TV. And they're like, a new TV and a bottle of vodka, huh?
Yeah, I always like to get trashed while I'm looking in 4K TVs.
Oh, man.
So if he is slow, like we're saying, what was his job at Michigan?
You know what? I don't know. A lot of times those guys like work for the equipment staff. I don't know what his official job title was.
Okay.
But I mean, he was employed by Michigan.
Or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh man, so they're like, hey, we're doing a nice thing here, and then that happens. Wow.
Yeah, and I guess
like they doubled down. Like you could obviously tell in the video, and they're still going after him like this is a normal functioning person, and it's like, okay, now you're coming across as the dick.
Yeah.
Kind of like when Hansen, ended up, what was that? One of those, somebody that showed up turned out to actually be a 15-year-old kid or something like that. And then the cops tackled him and everything.
Well, you know why they had to quit doing that show? Someone offed themselves after one of the busts.
Well, there was a whole lot of, they got in a lot of trouble when that 15-year-old kid actually showed up too.
I don't know if this is the same people, but I saw one a few weeks ago. They got this guy. This guy was probably like close to 70 years old. And he went to he drove to a different city than where he lived to meet what he thought was like a 14-year-old girl or something. Or no, a 14-year-old boy, not even a girl, a boy. And of course they found him, and they made this guy admit to everything he was about to do with this boy, and then they said, oh, look, man, we won't call the cops. They're lying, right? They go, we're not going to call the cops on you if you call your wife right now and tell her what you're doing here. So the guy, he takes the bait. He calls his wife live on their video recording him and tells her that he's there to meet a 13-year-old boy for sex.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And
Did
then
you hear what she says?
And then 2 seconds later, guess who walks up?
The police.
The cops.
The po-po.
I was like, oh man. I felt so sorry for that man's wife. She was inconsolable.
No, that's literally the worst thing that could happen for a spouse, right? Like your husband murder someone is better than that, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Dude, we just had something like that. This damn 40-year-old woman is a teacher, was sleeping with like 7 or 8 students at a time.
Yeah.
And her ex-husband's a cop.
Damn, she's setting them kids up.
I never got so lucky.
Yeah, where were these teachers? I was
right.
I was looking.
Now see, y'all are just perpetuating the double standard. Because if that shit was reversed, you'd be talking about killing somebody.
But I think.
It is. You're right. There's definitely a double standard.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, all my teachers look like that maid for the Brady Bunch.
Dude, that actually happened. That ended up happening the other way around when I was in high school. But I mean, they couldn't prosecute him because at least he was this smart. She was 18.
Yeah.
And they're funny enough, they're married to this day.
Oh wow, really? So it was a love story then.
I guess.
Dang. Hey Jay, I'm in my 30s, man. There's nothing wrong with me and Sea-Dog. I tell you what I don't understand is when you watch the Chris Hansen show, all of them just sit down and talk to the guy. Like, wouldn't you just run away? Like, why would you engage?
I'm kind of with you there.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm sitting
down to have a conversation with this guy.
Yeah,
that is true. They try to talk their way out of it.
Have a seat, sir. Okay.
And then they're like, we're the ones that have been communicating with you. We have everything you've said. Like, I can read to you what you've said right now. So
well, they don't know that. They're like, oh no, I was making sure they were okay, man. I was worried about this kid. And then they pull the transcript out and it's like, oh yeah, I might have said some shit.
Whoopsie.
Yeah, but it does, like, it is weird that nobody just like took off running. You know what I mean? Make them catch you, even though you're still going to get caught because they have your name. They know who you are, but.
At least they don't have you on national TV having horrible shit you've said read back to you, though.
Right. Yeah.
It still baffles me to this day how EDP ended up walking away from that shit twice.
Yeah, I don't know whatever happened to him. I mean,
that's these vigilante people that mess the thing up, and I feel like a lot of that's inadmissible once you do that.
Well, that's where I'll give, and I'm having a brain fart. I can't think of his name, but that guy that I sent you the video about, like, he's actually gotten instructions from law enforcement on what he can and can't do, and what would and wouldn't be admissible in court.
Like a how-to guide of getting away with shit.
Well, that's why they do a pretty good job. They try to be friendly to the guys in the beginning, and they get them to admit on camera what they've done. You know.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's where they can
that is admissible in court. I would think a confession would be.
Oh, yeah. Confession's the best thing. Yeah. Not many juries are going to acquit somebody who's confessed.
Like I said, I can't think of the dude's name, but he's called the world's #1 ethical hacker.
Well, yeah, like I've told you, like if you find a flaw in Google and you tell them, they'll give you like 10 or 20 grand if you just don't tell someone and tell Google.
Before he started cybersecurity business, he was talking about it in that interview. That's what he used to do for a living.
Yeah, see, here's the danger. Nature Boy says one of those hunter people got shot and killed a couple months back while he was confronting the guy. That's the thing. You never know when you walk up to one of those weirdos. You know, they might be packing.
Well, that could be a case where you're not dealing with a weirdo, you're just dealing with the cartel as well.
Right. Yeah, like a trafficking thing? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, then they're coming after your family, too.
Yeah, they've proven they don't have any qualms about offing somebody.
No, shit.
I don't get it. There's a lot of things I can understand, like getting mad enough to kill someone or something. Like, I don't condone it, but I understand how you could get there.
Right.
This stuff I don't get and never will. I don't understand it at all.
Well, there's just sick people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all there is to it. There's something, their brain is wired the wrong way or something. I'm with you. I can't understand it either, but there's really no explanation for it.
And that's kind of what I meant by I'd expect that shit out of California. Like, they're trying to pass it into law. It's no different than being gay or bisexual or anything like that. It'd be considered the same thing under law. I'm just like, no.
Pedo stuff would be just a relationship status, you're saying?
Yes.
That's fucked up.
If it's my kid, let me tell you something. I don't even have any daughters, but still, boys are victims of this as well.
Sure.
If that's my kid, they're way better off meeting Chris Hansen or one of these other guys than they are meeting me. Because they won't walk away from there.
That's a tough one because then your kids don't have a father because you're in jail. Man, I don't know.
Sometimes it is what it is.
Sometimes a judge will be a little bit more lenient on your sentencing if he understands where you're coming from too.
Now
that's happened.
Yeah, I know.
There's a name for it where Mrs. Peete might know, where the jury can ignore the law and just say, we're going to find this guy innocent because we think it's the right thing. I forget what it's called, but there's a legal term for it.
I haven't heard about that, but there is such thing as temporary insanity. Like
that's worse than being convicted, because once you go to a criminally insane hospital, you could be in there for life. No. You could get more time than otherwise.
You won't go to an institute. What it is with temporary insanity is for cases, and I imagine it's for cases like this, where something so horrific has happened to your child or something like that, where you just see red.
Yeah, there's a story. It was sometime in the 80s. It's on video too. I saw the video of it. This guy, his son was his young son, I want to say he was like 12 years old, was murdered by some maniac. Anyway, they're marching this guy into the courthouse. He somehow snuck into the lobby of the courthouse and pretended like he was on a payphone. And so they didn't really pay.
That was the airport. They were extraditing him.
Okay. And so he's acting like he's talking on the payphone. The police, there's 3 or 4 police escorting this guy in handcuffs, walks right by the guy. He turns around and just executes him in front of everybody. They tackle the guy to the ground. And I believe they gave him whatever the minimum sentence was that they were allowed to give him by the law. And he got out of prison on good behavior after like 2 years.
Yeah.
So.
I know exactly what you're talking
it's
about.
Called jury nullification. In criminal cases, the defendant shall have, or no, it says when jurors, based on their own sense of justice, refuse to follow the law and acquit a defendant, even when the evidence presented seems to point to an incontrovertible guilty verdict. I'd say that'd be one of those times to do that.
That situation is definitely, that's premeditated murder. So it's hard. It's kind of hard. You know, I mean, if you show up at an airport with a firearm and disguise yourself and then execute somebody, that's premeditated murder.
Yeah, but jury nullification is I don't care what the evidence says. The jury believes that the justice demands that they be acquitted.
Well, I mean, that's almost the exact scenario of what you're talking about, where, you know, a juror is looking at the case, they're just like, I don't condone it, but I understand it.
Well, if you put me on that jury, you know which way I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So it only takes one.
Parents would.
It only takes one.
That's true. That is true.
Have any of you ever been on a jury before?
I have not.
Yeah.
I have, yeah. I got pulled for jury duty, and they had me on one case. And I was like the third juror cut because I was actually friends with the guy in high school, even though we hadn't spoken 10 years at that point.
Yeah, I was on.
Asked, do you have any reason that you couldn't be objective, and you said that?
Well, no, actually, his lawyer brought it up that we were friends in high school, and. You know, of course, I got to ask, why weren't y'all friends? And we were cool in high school. We just kind of went our own way afterward, like happens with a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I guess they just decided I was not fit for the jury because you get friends with it. Whatever.
Have you been on a jury, Pete?
I have, back in 2008. Yeah.
What was the case?
It was an injury case for a car accident. This woman, it was a civil suit. She was suing this woman for all kinds of injuries, and turns out the lady who was suing the other lady wasn't even involved. She wasn't even at the accident scene. And she had sued like 4 other people for the same thing in the past 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
She was just yeah. I mean, to talk about deliberation, there was no deliberation. We went in the jury room and everyone just looked at each other and was like, that bitch wasn't even there. Not guilty.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
It must have worked for her before. I imagine a lot of people will just pay to not have to deal with it.
Yeah, apparently her daughter was the one that was involved in the accident. And she didn't show up to the scene of the accident until like 30 minutes later.
And she was wrong.
And she tried to say she was in the car.
What was her argument for that she was due compensation when she wasn't there?
Oh, she had this crooked doctor that came up there and testified to all her injuries. And
must have been a hell of a car wreck to
yeah, she had to have all this, spinal surgery and all this shit. She wasn't even in the car. Oh.
That's a hilarious thing. A lot of those doctors they don't really even practice. They just testify. That's what they do for a living.
Yeah. Yeah, he was some crooked doctor. Everybody, you could just tell. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know how to describe it. He just seemed dirty.
That sounds like profiling, sir.
Man, he was dirty.
Profiling is wrong.
And whoever the lawyer that represented the lady that was getting sued, he was good. He made them look foolish.
Well, that's what sucks, though. Like, did she countersue for like lawyer fees and stuff? Because you just have to pay a lawyer to prove that you're correct or innocent.
Yeah, there was no countersuit in that case that I was on. I guess maybe she could have done it at a later date. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Definitely for her lawyer fees, at least. I mean, she's the one getting sued.
Yeah.
But anyway, do you know anybody that's going to the game this weekend, Slim?
Not off the top of my head. I know T2I's got a bet on the game that I think he's going to end up regretting making.
What is it?
If Miami loses, he has to wear Florida State gear to all the Miami home games he goes to next year because he buys season tickets.
I would never make a bet to wear anything Georgia for a second.
No.
I would just never make that bet. Screw that.
Right.
Yeah, I prefer money. Hand over the money, and it's over with. No humiliation involved.
Yeah, I can get over money, but that red and black don't wash off too easy. That's my pride.
Money or a bottle of liquor.
I mean, listen, if I think there are things Miami can do that will help out. Like, I'm sitting there watching the game. Like, they're effectively running the ball, which they have done even in the loss that they've had. And I'm sitting here going, why the hell aren't we seeing more play action if we're running the ball effectively?
I don't know. Are teams like, are they dropping 8 in coverage and then stacking the box when you start running on them?
No, not really. I
don't know.
Really like they're just dropping 8 into coverage, 7 or 8 into coverage the vast majority of the time, and then just daring them to pass the ball. And you know, that's part of what's creating this turnover problem is, like I said, when you're sending out 4 wide receivers and you've got 7 or 8 into coverage, you're basically throwing into double coverage every time, no matter what.
They playing man all the time, though, with double on everyone? It seems to me that if you're dropping 8, you're going to play zone a lot.
They are playing a lot of zone.
Yeah, cover 3, cover 4.
Miami ran the ball effectively against Clemson, and Clemson's got a pretty good run defense.
Yeah, well, Mark Fletcher finally got healthy, and he came back. He had 155 yards rushing against Virginia.
I didn't see any of that game, by the way. It went to double overtime with Virginia.
Or not Virginia, but NC State. My bad.
Yeah.
Oh, NC State.
No, it went to a single overtime.
Okay.
Which I wasn't a fan of that. Like, Mario took a knee with, you know, and I've called this out all year. Like, when they get into, like, their version of a hurry up, there's not a whole lot of hurry up to them.
Well, he wanted to show you he could take a knee. I don't know, Slim. Some teams handle Virginia and some teams don't. Yeah. That's what
we beat Virginia, so I'm not worried about that. But this is something I've seen in multiple games, like right before the half or right before the end of regulation. Like, instead of increasing your tempo, they're still huddling up after every play. And I'm just, what are y'all doing?
Yeah, but if you have a rattled quarterback or one that's kind of trying to find confidence, running hurry up might not be the best thing, right?
Well, not continuously, no, but depending on the situation.
Yeah.
I tell you, I'm a little bit worried about the game this weekend with Clemson. I mean, if they play like they played this week, they'll win a game. But I don't know, man. It's how long has it been since Georgia Tech? It's since 2000. What is it?
It's Deshaun's freshman year, so 2014 was the last time.
Yeah,
I was at that game. The thing, if I were you, I'd be worried about is Clemson turns the ball over a lot. I mean, you turn the ball over twice against Notre Dame. They turned it over more. Right.
Yeah.
And Tech is a team that if you're turning over offensively a lot, you're going to hide our defensive problems with those turnovers. And that's where weird things could happen.
Yeah.
But Haynes King has been the epitome of inconsistency this year.
Not in the past 2 games, though. We've had about 1,150 yards of offense in the past 2 games. He's thrown, 5-6 touchdowns. He's ran for another 5 or 6. I mean, Haynes King's been pretty good lately.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only 4 quarterbacks in the country that have more touchdown passes than him.
I think Clemson's defense
is 3 quarterbacks in the country that have a higher QBR than Van Dyke. So
yeah, how's that working for Van Dyke?
How's that working for Haynes King?
Pretty good.
I'm more worried about Clemson offensively.
Really, I think still have a losing record.
I think defensively they'll be able to somewhat contain King. I'm not saying they're going to shut him down the way they did Hartman, because I don't think that they will. I'm more worried about offensively. They're going to get Will Shipley back. Are they going to revert back to the Will Shipley show, or are they going to let Maffa carry the load? And I honestly don't know the answer to that question.
Well, you should just pound the rock right down our throats. We're like the 132nd ranked rush defense. I think there's only one team in the country worse at rush defense than us. So you should have 350 yards rushing against us, and you will be the best defense we've probably played this year. I don't know who has a better defense between you and Miami. You could debate that. But that'll
pretty close to each other as far as national ranking.
Yeah, the thing that where Georgia Tech's offense runs the best is when Haynes King is running the ball. So can you have y'all been able to rein in mobile quarterbacks this year?
Well, even in the game against Notre Dame, I mean, I think that Hartman had close to 100 yards rushing, even though he couldn't pass the ball. So no, they do struggle with running quarterbacks a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, Haynes has been pretty good on the ground, and that's kind of the key to open up the rest of Tech's offense. So, yeah, I don't know. Would you take the 18.5? Would you?
Yeah, I would. I would bet on. I would take the points with Georgia Tech. Yeah.
Okay.
That seems like a lot of points to me. And I mean, they're coming off. Listen, Clemson was fired up for this game. They were on a 2-game losing streak. They're back at home after two road games in a row. Dabo Swinney's looking for his 166th win to become the winningest coach in Clemson football history. The whole, thing that happened the week before with Dabo versus the fans. So the team really was out for blood against Notre Dame. So is there going to be some sort of a hangover from last week to this week against Georgia Tech? I don't know.
I hope so. I mean, selfishly, that's kind of probably what I'll talk about in breaking the game down. I hope that y'all are kind of high off that win and, lowly Georgia Tech, who cares? That would be great.
I'm hoping the opposite is true, is that they carry that fire from last week through the remainder of the season. But, I'm still not sold 100% on the Clemson team I saw this past Saturday, because they haven't been able to repeat that all year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, on paper, you should probably walk us out of the stadium, but games aren't played on paper, and Clemson is.
I hope I'm wrong
this year.
I hope they take care of business and do it convincingly, but, it just hasn't been that kind of season for Clemson.
Now, Maffa has had turnover struggles, right?
Well, the entire offense has, yeah.
But I think out of the running back crew, it seems like Shipley's pretty solid there. I know he's put it on the ground a few times, but it seems like Maffa.
Yeah, Maffa's turnovers. Yeah, he's struggled with that. He turned it over at the end of this game too against Notre Dame.
Yeah, and it almost cost Eric. Could have cost you the game. It was late in the fourth when he coughed it up. Right?
Yeah. And normally, if he would have done that, they probably would have sat his ass on the sideline for the rest of the game. But they didn't really have a choice, so they brought him back in, and he played well. It ended up working out for him. But
what defensive scheme do y'all run? Do you have 3 linebackers and 4 down, or?
Yeah, typically.
Okay. It seems like a nickel's really popular amongst all defenses these days.
That's what they'll probably run against Georgia Tech, I would imagine.
I would think because we've ran the ball so well. I mean, we put up 348 yards rushing on North Carolina, 305 on Virginia. I would think y'all probably stack the box.
Well, they're definitely going to, because they're going to make Haynes King try to beat them through the air.
Yep, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Because, as high as I've been on Haynes King, and to Slim's point, Haynes King will throw just an absolutely boneheaded pick every so often. And we're not to, if we're going to beat y'all, a more talented team, we can't have that.
Well, the key to a Georgia Tech victory or even a close game is going to be what we've seen all year. It's going to be, can they force Klubnik and or the running backs or receivers to turn the ball over. Like you said, that's been their problem all year. And when they lose the turnover margin, they lose the game 100% of the time.
Yep, I would bring a lot of pressure if I was Tech. The problem with bringing pressure is if you don't get to the quarterback, Cade's going to have a wide open guy to throw to with some space. So I would probably still have to come with a lot of pressure.
Well, even in the games they've won, though, I mean, it's not like Cade has looked absolutely stellar.
No.
True. It's true. We just haven't been able to get a lot of pressure all year, though. Our defensive front is not very good. How has your offensive line been this year?
Terrible.
Been on the ground a lot? Okay.
Yeah, well, terrible. This past weekend was the best game they played by a long shot all year. But typically, it's been terrible. It's the worst position group on the team.
Yeah, this could be interesting. I don't know. Like I said when I came on first, I don't know what to expect from this game. Literally anything wouldn't surprise me. Other than us blowing you out, that would surprise me. But other than that, nothing else.
Is somebody in the self-checkout line? I don't know. I was about to ask Rec Talk if he had a bird.
No, I'm getting fuel.
I caught that crow for Luke. It's behind the curtain there. I think that's Slim.
Slim doesn't trust people that own cats. I don't trust people that own birds.
Yeah, birds are mischievous.
They're evil. They're
especially crows.
They're little dinosaurs. That's what they are.
Yeah.
Well, so then you must also mistrust people that have alligators for pets.
Well, yeah. I do, yeah, because they're idiots.
Yeah, that's like people that have tigers and shit as pets. I mean, they're not.
Hey, listen, don't even get me started on that. Don't even.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh.
Somebody told me yesterday, I heard yesterday somebody say, where did I hear this at? It was on a podcast somewhere. It might have been on Rogan. That if you own a cat or a dog, but they were talking about cats, and you die, within 24 hours of you dying, your cat will start to eat you.
Yep.
I've heard that as well. I don't want to test it, but
I don't have a cat.
It won't matter. I mean, does it matter if a cat eats you? You're dead. Who cares?
That's true.
Yeah, think of the money you can save on funerals.
And they said that the only kind of dog that will not eat their owner is a lab. Now, I don't even know, how do you test this? Like, where are they getting this information from? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Did they run trials of this?
I mean, that is a good question.
I mean, how do you know labs don't?
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, go
because labs are fucking awesome dogs. That's why.
Labs are awesome dogs.
Mike Saha has 3 birds. Well, there you go. That explains a lot.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, because he has the little cage in his background. I don't know if you can ever see him with his sunglasses on, but they are there.
I watch most of them, Nature Boy. Some of the MMA ones I don't watch. I'm not really that into MMA, but most of the regular ones I watch.
I used to be. I'm not like everybody I was a fan of done got old and retired. And I'm not a Connor fan.
He's not even in it anymore, is he?
Yeah, he's all washed up.
He took that $100 million from fighting Mayweather.
I think he's fought since then.
Yeah, he has.
What about was it that guy that fought Tyson Fury?
Oh, Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, I saw Chael Sonnen saying boxing is fake and they want to protect, the boxer when they fight an MMA guy. Because
not really. I mean, that's no different. That's no different than him fighting Deontay Wilder. Both of them have a powerful right hand, and that's it.
Yeah, but was it Ngannou? How do you say his name? Francis
Ngannou.
Ngannou, yeah. He hadn't trained boxing but like a few months. Deontay Wilder had trained his whole life to be a boxer.
Oh,
yes, but both of them in a boxing match, like obviously in an MMA cage it's going to be a little different, but in a boxing match, all he's really got to work with is that powerful right hand, which is all Deontay Wilder really has.
Oh, damn it. I must have got rid of that picture.
What?
I was going to put a picture up, but I clicked on it and it's black. Did you see, well, you probably didn't see, but speaking of Joe Rogan, the other day he was talking about you, Slim.
He was talking about me?
Yeah. They were talking about people who think that they can beat up people who are trained in MMA.
Okay.
And he was saying people are delusional. They think that they see somebody on TV and they think, oh, I could take that guy.
Okay, well, there's also what he's talking about, and you're kind of proving my point. Have you ever been in a fight, Pete?
Is that a serious question?
Yeah, because I'm seriously wondering. Because me and Rec actually got into this conversation.
What do you mean by fight?
There's a big difference. Hear me out. There's
like
a big difference between somebody like Zuck, and that's the point I was making about Zuck. There's a big difference between somebody that trains to get in shape or do whatever, and somebody that actually gets punched in the face over and over and over and over again. Those are two very different things.
Well, our point was there's a difference between a trained fighter and an untrained fighter, though, right?
Yes.
A trained fighter wins every time. I think that was the argument.
As a trained fighter, he can have lessons with somebody fast.
Yeah.
I don't know what you said.
Well, wait, Slim's exact words were, if Zuck were to try to do a takedown move on him, that he would just push his face into the concrete. That's what you said.
Oh, if he took a shot on you? I mean, have you ever sprawled or wrestled? No. Because you're gonna.
Garrett wrestled in high school, so I've gone against him.
Because you can't hit someone in the face if they've got a hold of you and they got you close or you're on the ground. Then what are you gonna do if you're not trained in, submission or jiu-jitsu or any of that?
I completely get the point. But granted, you come on for a two-leg down on me, my first instinct is to throw me. But
okay.
Anyway, Zuckerberg, he tore his ACL, so.
That's like saying, well, whether that makes him better.
I'm scared. I think you're in a bad area, Slim. We can't.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit.
But if what you're saying is I would just push his head in the ground and that would be it, I think that's silly.
Yeah, of course it does.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever wrestled or anything, but you'd be surprised at how quick someone can get on you and get a shot off on you.
Well, with the exception of a few people who are just physically dominating specimens, street fighter types, I'm taking the person who's trained in jiu-jitsu 100 times over somebody who's not. And again, unless they're facing somebody who's like a trained boxer, and they might be able to take you out if you try to shoot on them or something. I mean,
I would still take a world-class jiu-jitsu over a world-class boxer in a fight.
Oh, I completely agree with you, but the whole point of my argument is Zuckerberg is not a trained fighter. or
He is,
world
though.
class. No, he's not.
I mean, he's not, he's not fighting for the title in UFC or anything, but he's still a trained fighter.
And he's done, I guarantee he's done some light sparring and they take it easy on him. And the only reason he gets to train with the people he does is because he has
Yeah, I doubt that's true. I think that when you're training with the best people in the world, they're not going to take it easy on you just because you're Mark Zuckerberg. I don't think they care who you are.
No, I disagree. And what I was trying to get out while I was breaking up there is, I mean, Justin Bieber took boxing lessons from Floyd Mayweather. Should we be scared of Bieber at this point?
So now you're bringing up the Biebs, huh? No.
Well, I mean, it's another comparable example.
Well, would I take Justin Bieber in a boxing match over somebody who didn't train with Floyd Mayweather? Probably.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think I don't think there's many people in this chat that Justin Bieber could beat in or out of a ring.
I think you're wrong. If he trained with Mayweather, I don't know how long he trained with Mayweather.
Yeah, did he like spend one afternoon with him and that was it or something? Or did he like actually train with him?
Like if he went through a camp with Mayweather.
I mean, I know there was more than one, but I don't know how many.
Yeah.
No.
Well, we know that Zuckerberg
I mean, one
trained
camp's what, 8 weeks?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know Justin Bieber's extension of training, but
I'm still not scared of that fucking alien.
I think you don't like him personally, so you're not going to admit what you know to be true.
Well,
that's what I think.
What I have against him personally, other than the fact that he looks like an alien.
Well, exactly.
Well,
I mean, why would you say he looks like an alien if you don't personally dislike him? Do you like Zuckerberg then? Is that what you're saying? That's what I thought.
yeah, I don't think he's a Zuckerberg fan.
Yeah, if I had to guess. I mean, I don't have any problem admitting Zuckerberg would probably turn me into a pretzel. I don't. What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
I haven't trained jiu-jitsu. Anyways, well, I'm going to hop off, guys. I got to get back to it. I appreciate you having me on, though, Pete. And
yeah. Get with me all before the game. I'll let you. I'll give you some Clemson advice.
All right, man.
All
Love
right,
you, bro.
Later. Reg Talk, everybody. He's making his first trip to Clemson this weekend to see his team get drug up and down the field by Dabo Swinney and company. So that's exciting. Plus, most games he goes to, they lose. So that's also a notch in Clemson's column. It's like I told you, I've never seen Clemson lose on purpose. Freudian slip there. In person, Reg Talk has seen Georgia Tech lose in person probably hundreds of times. So just add this one to the list, I guess. All right, Slim, I'm going to get off to it's 1 o'clock, buddy. Well, Slim dropped off on his own there. I think he's in a bad area or something. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me today for the midday show. Again, the Clemson versus Georgia Tech game, and also the what's the other game on that? Oh, the Michigan and Penn State. I will be streaming this weekend on YouTube, and then I'll leave it up to you, Patreon/join members, what you want me to do as far as the 3:30 or 7:30 games. I'll put a poll up tomorrow. I will be live tonight with Uncle Lou on his channel for the Lunch Money Show. We'll go over all of the Week 11 betting lines and tell you how to lose some money. And that's it. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you guys tonight at 10 o'clock. Have